Daughter. At first I cried day and night. I wanted to cry and talk. We're from Tajikistan, from Dushanbe. There's a war there. I shouldn't be talking about this now. I'm expecting. I'm pregnant. But I'll tell you. They come onto the bus one day to check our passports. Just regular people, except with automatic weapons. They look through the documents and then push the men out of the bus. And then, right there, right outside the door, they shoot them. They don't even take them aside. I would have never believed it. But I saw it. I saw how they took out two men. One was so young, handsome, and he was yelling something at them. In Tajik, in Russian. He was yelling that his wife just gave birth. He has 3 little kids at home. But they just laughed. They were young too. Very young. Just regular people, except with automatic weapons. He fell. He kissed their sneakers. Everyone was quiet, the whole bus. Then we drove off and we heard ta, ta, ta. I was afraid to look back. I'm not supposed to be talking about this. I'm expecting a baby. But I'll tell you. Just one thing though. Don't write my last name. I'm Svetlana. We still have relatives there. They'll kill them. I used to think we'd never have any more wars. Such a big country, I thought, my beloved country. The biggest. During Soviet times, they'd tell us that we were living poorly and humbly because there had been a great war, and the people suffered. But now that we have a mighty army, no one will ever touch us again. No one will defeat us. But then we started shooting one another. It's not a war like there used to be, like my grandfather remembered. He marched all the way to Germany. Now it's a neighbor shooting his neighbor, boys who went to school together, and now they kill each other and rape girls that they sat next to in school. Everyone's gone crazy. Our husbands are silent. The men here are silent. They won't say anything to you. People yelled at them as they were leaving that they were running away just like women, that they were cowards betraying their motherland. But is that bad? Is it a bad thing not to be able to shoot? My husband is a Tajik. He was supposed to go and kill people. But he said, let's leave. I don't want to go to war. I don't need an automatic. That's his land, but he left because he doesn't want to kill another Tajik, the same kind of Tajik as he is. But he's lonely here. His brothers are all still fighting there. One already got killed. His mother lives there. His sisters. We rode here on the Dushanbe train. The windows were broken. It was cold and unheated. No one was shooting, but they threw rocks at the train and broke the windows. Russians, get out! Occupiers, quit robbing us! But he's a Tajik, and he had to listen to all this. And our kids heard it. Our daughter was in 1st grade. She was in love with a boy, a Tajik. She came home from school. Mom, what am I, a Tajik or Russian? How do you explain? I'm not supposed to be talking about this, but I'll tell you. The Pamir Tajiks are fighting the Kulyab Tajiks. They're all Tajiks. They have the same Quran, the same faith, but the Kulyabs kill the Pamirs, and the Pamirs kill the Kulyabs. First, they'd go out into the city square, yelling, praying. I wanted to understand what was happening, so I went too. I asked one of the old men, what are you protesting against? They said, against the parliament. They told us he was a very bad person, this parliament. Then the square emptied, and they started shooting. All of a sudden, it became a different country, an unrecognizable country. The East. And before that, we thought we were living on our own land, by Soviet laws. There are so many Russian graves there, but there's no one to cry at them. They graze livestock on the Russian cemeteries, and goats. Old Russian men wander around, going through trash cans. I worked in a maternity ward as a nurse. I had night duty. This woman is giving birth. It's a difficult birth, and she's yelling. Suddenly, an orderly runs in. She's not wearing gloves, no robe. What's going on? To come into the maternity ward like that? Girls, there are men here. They're wearing masks. They have guns. Then they come in. Give us the drugs and the alcohol. There aren't any drugs or alcohol. They put the doctor up against the wall. Give it here. And then the woman who's giving birth yells with relief, happily. And the baby starts crying. It's just come out. I lean over it to look. I can't even remember now whether it was a boy or a girl. It didn't have a name or anything yet. And these robbers say to us, what is it, a Kulyab or a Pamir? Not boy or girl, but Kulyab or Pamir. We don't say anything. They start yelling, what is it? We don't say anything. So they grab the little baby. It's been on this earth for maybe 5-10 minutes, and they throw it out the window. I'm a nurse. I'd never seen a baby die before. And here, I'm not supposed to remember this now. How are you supposed to live after that? How were you supposed to give birth? After that, in the maternity ward, the skin started coming off my hands. My veins swelled up, and I was so indifferent to everything. I didn't want to get out of bed. I'd get to the hospital and then turn around. By then, I was pregnant myself. I couldn't give birth there, so we came here, to Belarus, to Narovlia. Small, quiet town. And don't ask me anything else. I've told you everything. Wait. I want you to know. I'm not afraid of God. I'm afraid of man. At first we asked people, where is the radiation? See where you're standing? That's where it is. So it's everywhere? There are many empty houses. People left. They were scared. But I'm not scared here the way I was there. We were left without a homeland. No one claims us as their own. The Germans all went back to Germany, the Tatars to the Crimea when they were allowed to. But no one needs Russians. What are we supposed to hope for? What do we wait for? Russia never saved its people because it's so big, it's endless. And to be honest, I don't feel like Russia is my homeland. We were raised differently. Our homeland is the Soviet Union. Now it's impossible to know how to save yourself. At least here no one's playing with guns. Here, they gave us a house, and they gave my husband a job. We wrote a letter to our friends back home, and they came yesterday, for good. They came at night, and they were afraid to come out of the train station. They stayed there all night, sitting on their suitcases, not letting their kids out. And then they see. People are walking down the street, laughing, smoking. They showed them our street, escorted them right to our house. They couldn't believe it, because back there, we stopped living normal lives. Here, they got up in the morning and went to the store. They saw butter and cream, and right there in the store, they told us this themselves. They bought 5 bottles of cream and drank them right there. People were looking at them like they were crazy, but they hadn't seen cream or butter in 2 years. You can't buy bread in Tajikistan. There's a war. It's impossible to explain to someone who hasn't seen what it's like. My soul was dead there. I would have given birth to something without a soul. There aren't many people here, and the houses are empty. We live near the forest. I don't like it when there are a lot of people, like at the train station, or during the war. That was a reading from Voices from Chernobyl, The Oral History of a Nuclear Disaster, by Svetlana Alexievich, translated by Keith Gesson. Page 55, 3 monologues about a homeland. Speaking, the K family, mother and daughter, plus a man who doesn't speak a word, the daughter's husband.